What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Journey Called Life with your host, Katira Keenan, aka KT. So, it's episode 3, and today I'm going to be sharing 10 things that I have learned in 2024. First of all, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. It is currently, I won't say December, it's January 3rd, 2025. I literally cannot believe it, but we only get young, older and older. I wish I had a time machine. I wish I had a time machine because seriously, the time just be flying. It really does. But I hope you guys had an amazing Christmas, Thanksgiving, and Happy New Year's. I hope you guys spent time with your family or your friends, whoever is close to you. And if you spent it by yourself, I hope you were intentional and you just enjoyed it. Doesn't matter if you spent it alone or with people. I just hope you enjoyed your holidays. I can honestly say that I had a really good Christmas with me and Kason. Decorated some pizzas. We watched some movies, and y'all have been enjoying this Christmas break. I've been enjoying this break since the winter semester was over, and we just been chilling, watching movies. I've been like picking my feet up, like when I just went back home. So me and Kason celebrated Christmas Eve, and then he was with his father Christmas Day. And then I went to Flint to celebrate like Christmas and New Year's with my family in Flint. So we just did Christmas Sunday. So when I was just in Flint with my mom and everything, we literally just sat and watched movies. We was up till like 3 o'clock in the morning just chatting and So yeah, I was enjoying myself, and I hope you guys did too. But let's get right into it because I don't want to hold you guys, okay? Now I know you're probably seeing these videos everywhere. You're probably seeing everybody talk about 10 things, 25 things, 24 things that I learned in 2024. But I promise you, you will gain something different than what other people are saying. I just feel like I could not resist talking about this because of my personal testimonies and just the things that I've experienced. And I know that I am not the only single mom that's trying to co-parent, single mom that's going to school and working. Like, I know I'm not the only. I just know that my testimonies can help somebody out there. I know I'm not the only person experiencing the things that I have experienced. Okay, so let's get right into it. I do have notes, per usual, so I will be reading the notes off of my phone, because I did have them written down, but I just feel like it would have been way easier just to have my phone right here. So yeah, so either way, let's get into it. Stop yapping. Number 1 is lower your expectations for other people. Okay? So when it comes to expectations is basically you being let down, like, because of something that you expecting something that you didn't necessarily communicate. So for example, my son's father, I would get so upset and so mad when he didn't come through or be consistent with certain stuff, because to me, in my mind, we both created this baby. We both wanted this baby. You're his father. So if you know that I have X, Y, and Z, and you know just the situation, then you should be doing your end. You should be doing this and you should be doing that. That's my expectation. Did I communicate that with him? No. Should I have to communicate that with him? No. But at the end of the day, you have to look at what the person is actually capable of doing. For example, are you going to push a newborn baby out and expect them to are you going to push a newborn baby out and expect them to get up walking? Absolutely not. I know it's dramatic, but you get the point. The thing is, even though that, and I think that's what's so frustrating, because especially for me in my situation, it's like, I know what you're capable of. I know that you can do this. I know that, like, you're able to, especially when you have seen the person do it before. But the thing is, it doesn't matter what that person is capable of doing. It doesn't matter what you think that they can do. It's the fact of what are their actions showing you? What are their current actions showing you? Like, what is their behavior showing you? Is their actions and behavior showing you that they can be consistent and show up? So don't go off of what you think. Don't set your expectations off what you think. Set your expectations off what that person or what those people are actually showing you. Okay? I feel like it's natural. It's honestly natural for us to do that. I get it. But to save yourself from being let down or to save yourself from being upset and frustrated, like, In that moment when you feel yourself being upset about something, ask yourself, was this expectation communicated? Did me and this person come to a mutual agreement that they would do this and I would do that? I get it. Okay, in my situation, being like co-parenting, if I have school and I have work, and we know that Kason can't go to daycare these days, and we know that there's really nobody else to watch them, then, and you know my schedule, then that means that you're gonna have the kid. You're gonna have Kason, right? Right. But that's what I'm expecting. But if the other parent has not been consistent in the past, if they are not consistent, even with the smallest things, then do not expect them to be consistent with getting him when you need him to. Like, I kind of hope that makes sense. I know I say that a lot, but I hope that example made sense. Because at the end of the day, if their actions are showing one thing, like, what can you do? You can't make somebody, I think that's a big thing too. You can't make somebody do something. You can't make somebody do what you want them to do. So at the end of the day, you have to just kind of take it and leave it. Take what the person does, take what the person, like, and it like, apply correctly. Okay, apply to your situation correctly. Like, if like it just depends. Apply to your situation correctly. In my situation, whatever my child's father was doing, like, let me stop complaining so much about what he's not doing. Let me stop complaining so much about what he didn't do or what he isn't doing. Let me be grateful for what he is doing. Now, that's not saying that he shouldn't be doing more. Okay, that's not just justifying the lack of like, I don't want to say behavior, but the lack is not justifying that. But so I can be sane, so I can be able to go to sleep at the end of the night, I'm going to take what you do and I'm going to be grateful for that, and I'm going to move on. Okay, so that's number one. Lower your expectations. Number two, this year I really learned how to live in faith. Okay, I really learned how to live in faith and understanding that God's grace, his mercy, his favor, like, no matter how many times you mess up, God will still take care of you. He will still provide for you. Now wait, don't hear that and think that, oh, so you're telling me that I could just mess up and do whatever I want and God will still bless me? That's not exactly what I'm saying. Okay, you have to be for me, for example. Okay, living in faith for me looked at, like, no matter what was going on, no matter what bill was due, no matter what my income looked like, I was trusting and having faith and believing that at the end of the day, God was going to take care of it. At the end of the day, I was believing that God was going to take care of it, that God was going to provide for me. For the fact that I'm believing in Jesus Christ, I'm believing that Jesus Christ died for me. He died on the cross for me. Okay, he died for my sins. And so that way I can be able to have a relationship with God. I'm believing that in my heart. And I am actively doing my best to try to grow closer to God and be more Christ-like. God sees the work that you're doing. God's seen, like, he heard my cries. He heard my prayers. He's seen how I was trying to get closer to him. And I asked and I received. There were so many times to where, like, whether my car was messed up, my car was, like, needed fixing, or there was a bill or needing to pay for school. And I said, God, please, like, I know you're going to make a way. I know you're going to make a way. You gave me this vision. And that's another thing too. Living in faith meant that, like, God meant for me that, okay, God gave me this vision. So because, God, I know you gave me this vision, you told me this is what you want to do, I know that you're going to make a way. You're not going to just tell me to do something and then not provide for me. He's never going to do that. So that's the thing too. Like, if God has told you to go and start a business, or he's told you to go be a teacher, don't worry about what you don't see right now, because at the end of the day, it will be the very last minute that God comes through and changes things and makes a way. Okay, so yeah, don't just think that you can just go out here and mess up. But the reason why I even mentioned that is because of the fact there was times where I was still, like, I don't want to say struggling, but there was times where I was still overcoming certain sin, still trying to become better when it comes to not cussing. That's something that I'm working on. I come from, I grew up with a mom that cussed like a sailor. Okay, I grew up with a mom that cussed like a sailor, so it's something that I never like cussed really bad, but it's something that I still struggle with. Overcoming sexual desires, like coming from my past and my childhood and the things that like the way that I used to be, like things aren't just gonna happen overnight. Like you are going to mess up, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to like what's the word I'm thinking of, backslide. You're gonna backslide, but what is your heart posture? Are you repenting? Are you coming to God and saying, God, I am sorry, I messed up, can you please forgive me? You know what I mean? So I just learned that, like, at the end of the day, God does not bless me based off how much I'm doing. Like, it doesn't matter how much good I do. Like, that's not why God blesses me. He doesn't bless me because of all the good things that I'm doing. Okay? He's blessing me because of the fact that I'm believing in him, I'm having faith, and like again, like I said, my heart posture. So that was my experience, learning how to live in faith. And that was just really big. And I was just I felt like God was just showing me time after time after time again, like, girl, I'm here and I got you, I'm holding your hand. Like, because even though it was hard, it was so hard. There was times where I'm like, especially like a really big thing for me was a really hard thing for me this year was like my co-parenting situation. It was times where I was extremely frustrated, like, God, why are you doing this? Why am I experiencing this? Why am I going through this? Why does it have to be like this? And I feel like I was being punished in a sense. I feel like at one point I was like, God, like, okay, I guess like I have to suck it up because this is my punishment for having sex out of having sex before marriage and having a baby out of wedlock. So consider, suck it up, buttercup. Like, these are the consequences of your actions. But it wasn't even necessarily that. God brings you through certain stuff so that way, and I'll get into that later too, but God will bring you through certain stuff to bring you closer to him. You know what I mean? So it was times where it's just like, I'm not gonna lie, I low-key lost my train of thought. Goodness, I lost my train of thought. I forgot what exactly what I was about to say. Here we go. Let's not start. Jesus, please reveal it back to me. It'll come back. Yeah. I feel like I was kind of all over the place with that. But either way, learning how to live in faith. All right. Number 3 is let Jesus take the wheel, honey. And what I mean by let Jesus take the wheel is just as much as you're worrying about it, pray about it, okay? Because there's a lot of things that's out of our control, and honestly, once it's out of your control, what can you do? There's just some things that you just have to give it up to God. Whether it's a relationship, like a friendship, like whether it's just like, let's say it's a relationship with a family member, a partner, whatever the case may be, and it's pertaining to that person's personality or just who they are. You can't change people. You can't change their heart. There's nothing that you can say, nothing that you can do to make somebody change. It's up to God. Like, you have to pray and say, like, God, like, please fix their heart. God, please change their mind. God, please work on me. Help me, God, to like set the example. Like, there's just some things you have to let go. But also, if it's your finances, like, or for example too, I just realized, like, number one, if you don't know, then now you know. Our God is a very jealous God. Okay? So if you are like idolizing something, trust and believe he's definitely not going to give it to you. Because if you're giving something else more attention than you're giving him, he's going to take it away. Or he's going to make it to where you don't get it until you like realize, like, okay, for example, for me, let me speak from experience. I really have a strong desire to be married. I have a very strong desire to be married, okay? And I started realizing, like, man, like, I'm honestly, like, spending more time thinking about my husband and thinking about, like, how life is going to be and wishing I'm spending more time on that than I am, like, getting to know God and learning what God says about marriage, learning how does God want marriage to be, what are the rules to marriage, what is the foundation of, like, like, you get what I'm saying? So just as much as you're worrying about it, pray about it. Let Jesus take the wheel. Let him take care of things. I don't care if it's your children. I don't care if it's school. If you, long as you did the best that you could on that test, long as you went to work and you put a smile on your face and you did the actual best that you can, that's all that matters. But just depending on the situation, learning how to just let Jesus take the wheel, whether it's finances and how things are going to get paid, whether it's, how something's going to get fixed, how, you're going to find a new job, how a relationship is going to get mended between you and somebody, or how it's just going to work out. Like, at the end of the day, pray, go to God about it. Don't stress. Number 4 is going to be, if you want to do it, do it. Don't worry about if you're doing too much, because honestly, in some people, in somebody else's eyes, you're doing too little. If you want to get dressed up just to go to class, get dressed up. If you want to get dressed up just to go to the grocery store, do it. Like, don't worry about what other people are thinking and what other people are saying. For me, there was times where I'm like, or okay, for example, like, I really used to feel like mapping my day out by the 30 minutes was doing too much, or I felt like, oh, meal prepping was doing too much. But I had to realize, consider, no, that's what works for you. That is what is best for you. Okay, so if it works for you, then you need to do it. You know that you're super busy, so you do need to meal prep. You might not have to put the stuff in containers, but you need to make at least 2 meals on whatever free day that you have. You need to try your best to make at least 2 to 3 meals. I set it to where you have some easy stuff that you can make. All right. When it comes to a parenting style, parent the way that you want to parent. I am still breastfeeding. And do you know how much backlash I get for still breastfeeding a 2-year-old? Kason just turned 2 in November. And my family, everybody's, are you still breastfeeding? They'll make comments like, oh, you must like him being on your boob. Like, what do you mean? But what kind of comment is that? If you want to be honest, I don't feel Kason on me. When he's nursing on me, I don't feel that. But the point of it is that I'm still breastfeeding because I still want to. Okay, yes, I am wanting to still wean off, but that's also a process within itself. If you thought, like, please think about it. If I wanted to be done breastfeeding, and if it was that easy, don't you think I would have done it by now? Understand that at the end of the day, people are going to say what they're going to say, and they're not going to understand why you're doing something. So, like, you have to just do you, in a sense. That's just like, people are going to call you crazy. People are going to be like, you're doing too much, because at the end of the day, they don't see what God has showed you. They don't see the vision that God has given you. So people may feel like I'm crazy for mapping my day out by the 30 minutes to an hour, or planning my week out by the hour. They may think I'm crazy, but at the end of the day, I know what I have to do. I know how my brain operates. I know how my brain works. I know how easy I forget things. So at the end of the day, I have to do what works for me. All right. So yeah, like, stand out, be confident, do what's best. If you want to get your nails done, but you're balling on a budget, go out and get those press-ons. And I know there's like a controversial discussion about the whole like do you kind of deal, because a lot of times people be like, you don't want to do, like, if you're thinking about spiritually, you don't want to do you want to do like what God says. But what I mean by this is, long as it's not putting you or anybody else in harm's way, and long as it's not something that God will look down upon, then do what you like. Do what makes you happy, in a sense. So if you wanna dress business casual every single day, that is your style, honey bunch. If you want to try something new, a nice restaurant, then do you. If you want to walk around looking like a bum, I don't suggest it, but hey, do you, boo boo, do you. Number five is that I have truly learned what wisdom is. I have learned that wisdom is knowledge, but with experience. Okay? Wisdom is knowledge, but with experience. This year has taught me that, not only for myself, but there are a lot of times we'll look at somebody else's life and be like, oh, they should be doing this, they should be doing that, they need to be doing this, they this old, this age, and they still ain't doing X, Y, and Z. When in reality, the things that you're wanting them to do, they don't have the wisdom just yet. Wisdom is like, so y'all, I don't know if y'all can see, but I burnt my neck like really bad. I do not know how to use a curling iron to save my life. And so the other day I was trying to curl my hair using a curling iron, and I burned my neck. Knowledge is knowing that you can burn yourself using a flat iron and curling iron. But wisdom is having the experience of getting burnt. So now next time you know how to do it the proper way. I know when I curl to move it away from my face and my neck. Okay? That's wisdom. Wisdom is knowing something, but also having the experience of whatever the situation is. So next time when the situation comes around again, you know the right way to do it. And sometimes when we're judging other people's life, we have to understand that that person they have to go through their own process of life so they can gain experience and knowledge to then know how to do it the right way next time. Okay? So, and that's also applies for you as well. Like, there was a lot of things that I went through these last 2 years that if I hadn't of, I wouldn't know how to do it. Okay, for me buying my car. Buying my car was a very hard process because I didn't have any credit. The people in my family, a lot of people around me, I couldn't get a cosigner. I didn't have crazy amount of money saved up. Like, so it just was a lot. And if you don't have good credit, decent credit, or credit history, that was my thing. I had decent credit, but I didn't have any credit history. If you don't have any credit history, your interest rate is going to be mad high. So your payments are going to be super high. And that was my issue too. I was trying to find something that was affordable. So if you got money out your behind and you can afford a high car note and insurance, then cool, then you're all right. But I had to go through that whole process to learn what to do with my son and what to do. What is it going to take for me to, like, I learned, number one, about my credit. What do I need to do to, like, get good credit? And then learning how to set my son up and helping those people, the people around me learn about their credit. Okay, so number 5 is learning that wisdom is knowledge, but with experience. Like, really, and I heard that before, but I was able to experience it hands on, and having the revelation of, like, this is really what it is. Like, this is why I'm going through certain stuff. This is why life is hard right now, because of, 2 months, 6 months, a year from now, it's all going to come back full circle. Like, you don't know what God is doing the whole time. You never know what God has up his sleeve. You never know what God is going to use to turn around for good. All right. So, number 6 is that everybody moves and goes through their journey of life at their own pace, and you go at yours. This goes back to what I said earlier about how a lot of times we will judge somebody on their life on, oh, they should be doing this and they should be doing that, one whole time everybody's process of life looks different. And I always use this example, like, for me, growing up in high school, believe it or not, y'all, growing up in high school, I was sneaking boys in my mom's house. I would skip class to go be with boys. I would leave lunch to go be with boys. Like, it was just, I was bad. I'm not gonna say bad, but I was just, like, seeking for attention, and I was molested throughout my childhood and teen years. And so there was just this void that I was trying to fill. Yeah. So that's in the conversation for later that we'll get deep into. But so in my high school years, in my teenage years, you would look at me and be like, Katira, like, get it together. Like, my mom probably would have never, I don't want to say she would have never thought that I would be who I am today. But at that rate, the way I was going, like, honey child. Yeah. But at some point along the way, I had a light bulb moment. I had a moment where, like, the veil was removed from my face. So you have to understand that everybody's going to have that moment when God is ready for them to have that moment. Okay. And you can't rush that process. You can't rush how their journey to success looks like if they reach it. But at the end of the day, success is doing what you wanted to do, doing what you said you wanted to do. So if I say I want to be a janitor and I go be a janitor, that's being successful. I am successful. Success looks different for everybody. But I think a lot of times we look at other people's life and we just feel like we're just so quick to judge. And also understand, that goes to you too. Don't be so quick to judge. I mean, don't be so quick to compare yourself to other people. You look at it too. And I'm not going to lie, y'all. I've been guilty of this lately. But where I look at somebody else that's, like, a year or 2 years younger than me. A lot of people right now that I went to high school with is getting married. They're getting engaged. They're starting their family the right way. They're buying houses. And here I am, 23 years old. I'm still in college. Mind you, I was technically supposed to be graduating like this past year, this year. I started college in 2020. I should have been done by now if I'm looking at it from my standpoint or the worldly standpoint. But I have to understand that God had a different plan, okay? But I see people that's my age that's getting engaged, traveling the world, and I'm just like, bruh, like, am I doing something wrong? Like, I catch myself. I'm doing a lot better, but I catch myself, and I have to understand that my process of life it looks different than theirs. I have to understand that my journey, I mean, yeah, we have to understand our process, everybody's process of life, mine, yours, Billy Bob's, Joe's, and Sally's, our lives look different, than our process of life will look different than the next person. Number 7, I really, really learned how to be present and intentional, especially being a mommy, okay? Especially being a mom, time flies. I could have sworn I was just carrying around a 5.5-pound baby in my arms, okay? And now I have a toddler that's screaming at me, pulling at me, talking about some milk, milk, milk. I want milk. Open, please, open. Now I have a toddler, and it's so crazy. Like, there was times, one thing I really noticed, and I feel so bad for us moms, especially those that are single parents. A lot of times, and I feel like just people, everybody in general, a lot of times we're in survival mode. So because we are in survival mode, our mind is just on go, go, go. So even though we're right there present and we're playing with them, we're not really capturing in and zoning in on the moment at hand. There's times where I went back and watched videos of like Kason when he was like, a baby like 6 months, or like, even 6 months to a year. And he's like, cooing and baby talking. And I'm like, man, like, I remember him baby talking, but I don't really remember him baby talking. I don't really remember like hearing him and listening to him. And I miss that. I miss his little newborn cry. Even though it sounds the same, it just has a little bit more bass to it. But like, I miss like hearing him like baby talk to me. Like, I don't know, just really learn how to be intentional and be so present. Because as a mom and just in general in life, you won't get those moments back. You won't get time back. You can't rewind. Yeah, you can go back and look at videos, but time just does. You can't go back in time. So just being present, but also being intentional with your time. So for Kason, for Christmas, for example, of course I want to start, family traditions, because now I'm starting my own family and everything. And for the holidays, I could have just easily been like, didn't plan nothing. I could have just said, oh, we're going to wake up, open gifts, and that be that. But no, I took the time. If you're not a creative person, TikTok. If you're not a creative person, you have TikTok, Pinterest, you have Google, you have YouTube, you have all these different places where you can easily type and search up easy family Christmas traditions. Christmas traditions with a toddler. Easy toddler Christmas traditions. Like, you can easily search that up. It's not that hard. You can easily search up birthday ideas for a 3-year-old. Fun family nights for a 5-year-old. Whatever the case may be, whatever you're trying to do, you can easily Google it. You can easily search it up. So please do not give me that excuse of, oh, I'm not creative. There's no such thing. But I took the time to plan something so that way it's memorable. Even though he's not going to remember, I'm going to remember it. But it's especially important when your children or when your family, speaking on parents, it's extremely important when your children can remember, because now they're going to remember. And now, like, whatever you do, like, that's going to carry on with them years down the road. All right. So just be intentional with your time. If you're a student, make sure that you're taking time aside for, studying. If you're in your career, taking time aside to like prepare for your job. I know a lot of times people be like, oh, I'm leaving work at work, and when I'm at my home. But depending on your job, sometimes you may have to bring work home. You may have to take some time to prepare at home if you have a business meeting, or if you are a nurse and, you notice that you have been extra thirsty at work around this particular time, or maybe you're hungry, or maybe, I don't know, maybe your feet is hurting and you would prefer different socks. Taking the time just to prepare and plan for your day at work. To take it back to a parent aspect is something else that like I really started doing is like Kason is really clingy. It comes from being a breastfed mom, but from him being breastfed, but he's super clingy. So something that I realized, that when I'm in the kitchen, if I'm in the kitchen, I'm washing dishes, or I'm trying to cook, or if I'm in the bathroom and I'm doing my hair, he's pulling at me. He's mommy, mommy, mommy. And the whole time I realized, whole time he just wants to see what I'm doing. Think about being a little midget. Think about being 2 feet tall, and you have this big giant person, that's your parent, and you have all this stuff that's above you. You can't see anything. Imagine being their height and seeing from their viewpoint. They don't see nothing. They can't see nothing. So a lot of times they're just curious. He just wants to see what I'm doing. He just wants to feel included. He doesn't want to be distracted. He wants to be included. So what I started doing is I put a towel down, be prepared to clean up a mess. But if I'm washing dishes, and if I'm not in a super rush, let's say if I'm not in a hurry, let's say, if I'm not headed somewhere out the door, if we don't have an appointment or class or nothing, if I have the time, and sometimes you have to make the time, but if I have the time, just put a towel down on the floor, pull the chair up, pull his sleeves up, and help him, and let him help me wash the dishes. Even though he ain't doing it and making a big old mess, but it is what it is. It's teaching him something. It's teaching him responsibility. It's teaching him how to clean. But it's also a bonding moment. Now he gets to spend some time with mommy. He gets to see what I'm doing. And now he's just being curious. But now that he knows what I'm doing up here, maybe he'll, be okay with just sitting down on the floor playing with his toys while I wash the dishes or cooking. So, definitely just take the time to engage with your toddler, engage with your children, include them in things. Don't just be so quick to distract them. Number 8, I really learned that it doesn't really take all that much to take time for yourself. I felt like in order for me to enjoy a glass of wine, and I'm not a drinker. I have wine that's been in my refrigerator since I moved in, and it's been a year and some change. So I used to feel like in order for me to drink a glass of wine, I had to, I had to be sitting down on my face mask, in my robe. I got to be chilling and relaxing. And it's no, homegirl. If you want to enjoy a nice glass of wine, pour that glass of wine while you cooking dinner. Or I feel like I had to be having a fancy, nice dinner. And it's girl, I don't care if you're eating a burger. If you want a glass of wine, you better make that glass of wine. I don't care if you're eating chicken nuggets. But you'll be surprised what you can do in 5, 10, 15 minutes. For me, self-care looks different for everybody. Or not even self-care, but taking time for yourself may look different. For some people, that's journaling. Some people, that's just sitting silent. But you have to learn, what do you need? Every day you should be taking some kind of time for yourself, so that way you can pour back into yourself. And everybody, that's different. So I love me a good face wash. I love me a good deep, of course I wash my face every day, but I love me a good deep skin routine. Okay. Where I'm doing my 2 cleanses. I'm able to do a face mask. I'm able to do a scrub. I'm able to do my turmeric and sea moss. I love that. And for me, sometimes that could take 10, maybe 15 minutes, because I like to sit it on my face. I like to take my time. But remind you, like I said, you'll be surprised what you can do in 10 to 15 minutes. It does not take all of that to take some time for yourself. So, mommy, if you want to put those nails on, if you want to do your feet, set 20 to 30 minutes aside when the kids go to bed. Take a quick shower, and then take some time to do a pedicure, or whatever the case may be. You get the point. And number nine, I realized, how are you going to get to know God and develop a relationship with him if you don't open your Bible? How can you develop a relationship with God and get to know him if you don't open your Bible? Yes, you can develop a relationship with him through prayer. But in order for you to get to know who God is, you have to read the Bible. The Bible is basic instructions before leaving earth. Okay? Basic instructions before leaving earth. The Bible is telling you, what does God say about you? Who does God say I am? What are the promises that God has given me? How did God bless other people? How did God use other people's worst times to turn it around for good? Through those different stories, it's just stories, just like we read Jack and Jill and Itsy Bitsy Spider growing up. And now, you're a true OG if you remember Junie B. Jones and Annie. I think it's Annie and Jack in the Treehouse. the Magic Tree House. If you OG, if you read those, just like we read those stories, the Bible is the same way. Okay, but yeah, you gotta open that Bible up, even if it's just one time a week. Okay, I'm not saying you gotta read your. We eventually we will get to the point to where we can read our Bible every day. But until then, even if you read your Bible once a month, you're making some kind of progress, and that's all that matters. And I think that's something else too that I've really learned on my journey of getting closer with God, is that, again, a lot of other religions, your ticket to heaven is based off how much you do. And God is not like that. God is not checking off like, oh, you did that, oh, you didn't. No, he's not. There is no checklist with God. There's no checklist with God. Okay. And I felt like, oh, I would be beating myself up because I didn't read my Bible today. I didn't read my Bible today. I didn't read my Bible today. It's been 2 weeks since I read my Bible. But at the end of the day, that message, that last message you read, that message has stuck with you, and you have been applying it. You have been learning how to apply it, or you've been catching yourself when you should have applied it. And you recognize that, and you prayed, God help me. Da, 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 da. So give yourself some grace in your spiritual journey. All right. Give yourself some grace. And number 10 is recently. Listen, I said to myself, or I had the revelation, and I don't know if it was God. I don't know. It could have been him. But I thought to myself, how do you want to have 4 and 5 kids, and you want to be able to move around and interact with your grandkids if you are not taking care of your body now? If you are not exercising or keeping up with your body now, you stiff as a brick. You getting out of bed, your back is hurting. You know, your knees just you go to bend down, pick the kids up at work, because I work at a daycare, and you talking about some, oh, girl, you're only 23. How do you expect to carry 20? I mean, I know I'm lying. No, devil, you was a liar. You was a liar. Now what I was trying to say. How can you expect to carry 3, 4, 5 kids, 6 kids at one point is how many kids I wanted. How do you expect to carry those children if your body is like this after one child? So number 10 is take care of your body now so it can take care of you later, is the best way I can put it. Like, if we don't take care of our bodies now in our younger age, in our 20s, we're going to be 40, 50 years old, 30, 40, 50 years old paying for it. I'm not saying you got to be this old fit CrossFit person that's doing all this crazy weightlifting or nothing like that. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that try at least every single day. If I was doing 10-minute workouts every day at one point. Okay, was I being consistent? Did I stay consistent with it? I was good for a week, and after that I fell off. But the point is that you start back up again. The point is that you pick it back up. The point is you start back again. Okay? But try every single day to push your body farther than its normal daily activities. So, on average, on most days, what do? We walk. We may do a little jog to go catch a door or something. We may bend over to pick something up. Okay, move your body past its normal limits, if that makes sense. So, do a little 10-minute cardio, or just even stretch. Just do something to that your future body will thank you for. Okay? That's the best way I can put it. Because that hit me so hard. I said, girl, your knees, you over here complaining about your knees and complaining about your back, and you only got 1 kid, and you want 5? You want 4 children? Yeah, think again. Something else that I've learned in the process of learning my style when it comes to clothes, I've been taking the time to just kind of find what my style is. But also when it comes to me trying new styles or trying new hairstyles, I feel like this is my first time having a successful wig install. But even though I say it's a successful wig install, there's room for improvement. But I've had to really learn myself and learn and tell myself to give myself grace and understand that it's a process. Your first wig install is not going to come out boom, bam. Okay? These people that are doing wigs and slaying them, they've been doing it for a minute, or they've done it a couple times to figure out what works for them in X, Y, and Z. So That's something else. Just big on giving yourself grace. Big on, and I guess that'll be number 11. Be, do not, it's a blessing and curse to be your biggest critic. Okay, it's a blessing and curse. Learn the middle ground. Give yourself some grace and understand that at the end of the day, everybody is doing this thing called life for the very first time. You've never been here before. You've never been the person you are before. So there's a lot of things that you have to learn. Just like a baby has to learn how to walk, has to learn how to talk. It's the same thing with you. You have to learn how to operate. I have to learn how to operate as a 23-year-old in the month of January in 2025. Because a 23-year-old in November of 2024 is not the same person as who she is today. Okay? So those are just some quick little things. I hope you guys were able to follow along and it wasn't too like boom, ba, bam, like all over the place. I'm really working on that and keeping my train of thought, you guys. I really appreciate you guys so much for watching and staying, like, being tuned in. Please grab a friend or two or three to watch the next couple episodes and to stay tuned with. Don't forget we have our Instagram page. You can go follow me on my personal Instagram page at thereal.kt, but also we have a Instagram page for this. Like it's called the JCL podcast. Go follow that as well. Everything will be down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. 2 weeks from now will be episode 4. Stay tuned for some special guests. Drop in the comments, what did you learn in 2024? Okay, but anyways, you guys, peace out. Bye. See you later. Stay smooth, be blessed, and stay safe.